Have you felt it? The quiet beneath the noise. The stillness hiding under the pulse of December. The subtle tremble in your spirit that tells you something is shifting. It's almost as if your soul already knows what your mind hasn't fully understood yet. That this month, this moment, this inner heaviness you can't quite name. It isn't exhaustion. It isn't sadness. It isn't seasonal pressure. It's something far more sacred. It's a wilderness, but not a wilderness of punishment. A wilderness of preparation. Because heaven does not prepare you in comfort. Heaven prepares you in transition. In tension, in the holy in-between, where something old is breaking off and something new is being born. And what if this December, the one that feels heavier than others, is not ordinary at all? What if it's the last stretch before God lifts you? Because in Scripture, every major move of God begins in a wilderness. Moses had one. David had one. Elijah had one. John the Baptist preached from one, and Jesus himself walked into one before his ministry ever began. The pattern is too consistent to ignore. Wilderness always precedes destiny. Struggle always precedes clarity. Pressure always precedes breakthrough. So what if what you're feeling right now is not random, not disappointing, not evidence of defeat, but evidence of proximity, evidence that you're closer to breakthrough than the enemy wants you to realize, because the wilderness, biblically, is misunderstood. We think wilderness means abandonment, but in Scripture, wilderness means preparation. We think wilderness means silence, but heaven often speaks clearest where the world is quietest. We think wilderness means delay, but wilderness is where acceleration is born. When God prepares someone for a new season, He often leads them into a space where the noise of the world softens. The comforts of everyday life loosen their grip. The illusions of control fade away. The distractions fall off one by one, and all that remains is God, you, your purpose, and the refining fire shaping who you must become for what comes next. Moses entered the wilderness running from his past, but walked out carrying the assignment of a deliverer. David entered hiding from a king, but emerged prepared to become one. Jesus entered in obscurity, but left in the power of the Spirit. Because wilderness is where God strips away what cannot go with you into the next season. It is where He reveals what was hidden, strengthens what was weak, exposes the lies you believed, and sharpens the identity you forgot you had. So when your December feels dry, heavy, quiet, or disorienting, remember this. Wilderness precedes breakthrough, always. December is a threshold month, a doorway between what has been and what is about to be. It carries the emotional weight of an ending and the spiritual anticipation of a beginning, and spiritually, thresholds are never comfortable. They are wilderness moments, not deserts of emptiness, but spaces between where you were and where you're going, between the identity you held and the one God is forming, between the battles you survived and the victory God is preparing. And December amplifies this transition. You start looking inward. You feel unfinished lessons rising. You sense old burdens that must finally be released. You hear whispers of assignments you haven't stepped into yet. You face fears you avoided all year. This is spiritual wilderness, just like Israel standing at the edge of the promised land. Between a wilderness behind them and breakthrough before them, so are you. And here's the mystery. The wilderness feels heaviest right before God moves. Before Jesus began His ministry, the wilderness intensified. Before Israel crossed the Jordan, the manna stopped. Before Joseph stepped into leadership, the prison felt darkest. Pressure isn't punishment. It's a sign that heaven is aligning something. Think of a seed underground in the final days before it breaks. Through the soil, the darkness tightens. The pressure increases. The soil seems to close in, but none of that means death. It means birth. Think of a rocket moments before liftoff. The shaking is violent. The rumbling is fierce. The pressure peaks. Not because something is wrong, but because everything is positioning for elevation. Think of a butterfly in chrysalis. The struggle greatest right before transformation, because the old form must collapse so the new one can emerge. This is what your December feels like, not destruction, transition, not chaos construction, not emptiness, the final stage before emergence. Your soul is shedding what cannot follow you into the new year. Your spirit is stretching for a bigger assignment. Your faith is strengthening for greater responsibility. Your identity is maturing into a deeper calling. This is why everything feels tight. This is why the pressure feels personal. This is why you feel caught between who you used to be and who God is shaping you to become. God isn't punishing you. He's preparing you. This December isn't your prison. It's your wilderness. Here is a truth Scripture reveals repeatedly. The enemy fights hardest when your breakthrough is closest. Before Moses was born, Pharaoh increased oppression. Before Israel crossed over, giants waited at the threshold. Before Jesus emerged from the wilderness, Satan attacked him directly. Before Paul carried the gospel further, he faced storms and shipwrecks. The enemy knows what many believers forget. A person on the edge of breakthrough often feels discouraged, weary, isolated, overwhelmed. So December becomes a battlefield. Old fears resurface. Old temptations return. Old wounds sting again. Old insecurities whisper. Old doubts blur your vision, not because you're weak, but because you're transitioning. The wilderness always intensifies at the doorway of destiny, and the enemy's goal is simple: to misinterpret your season, to make you think God is distant, or silent, or disappointed. But the truth, God is closest in the wilderness. God speaks clearest in the wilderness. God strengthens you most in the wilderness. The weight you feel is proof that heaven is preparing you for something you weren't ready to carry last year. Here is the revelation. This December is not your breaking point. It is your birthing point. This is not the month you fall apart. It is the month you come together. This is not the month you lose hope. It is the month you finally see why the battles were necessary. Your wilderness is not designed to destroy you. It is designed to deliver you into breakthrough. God is pruning what cannot remain. He is loosening the grip of old identities. He is healing wounds you ignored to keep moving. He is removing comforts that kept you small. He is refining your faith for greater stewardship. He is preparing your spirit for a divine assignment waiting beyond the turn of the year. Your wilderness isn't evidence of abandonment. It is evidence of preparation. And here is a mystery heaven teaches again and again. Breakthrough often feels like loss before it feels like gain. It feels like pressure before it feels like freedom. It feels like wilderness before it feels like promised land. This December is a spiritual doorway. You are standing in the holy tension between old battles and new blessings. And heaven is ordering your steps. So, what do you do when God leads you into a wilderness? You do what Scripture teaches. You trust Him more than your feelings, more than your fears, more than the shifting terrain around you. Ask yourself, what is God developing in me this December? What is He stripping away? What is He strengthening? What breakthrough is this wilderness preparing me for? What old version of myself is being left behind? What new identity is emerging? Maybe He is teaching you endurance. Maybe He is maturing your faith. Maybe He is healing a wound you've buried. Maybe He is realigning your purpose. Maybe He is preparing you to lead. Maybe He is separating you from things that cannot join you in 2026. Maybe He is teaching you to hear Him in quiet, so you will recognize His voice in the noise ahead. Whatever He is doing it because He loves you too much to let you enter the new year unprepared. So don't despise this December. Don't curse the wilderness. Don't assume the pressure is punishment. Something is happening in you, not to you. You are being strengthened. You are being refined. You are being shaped for the breakthrough on the other side of this wilderness. So listen carefully as this message closes. This December is not ordinary. It is holy ground, a preparation field, a refining fire, a spiritual transition zone. You are not stuck. You are being prepared. You are not failing. You are maturing. You are not forgotten. You are being shaped for something greater. Do not rush this moment. Do not fear this wilderness. Do not fight the pruning, because God always brings His people through the wilderness, not to abandon them, but to reveal who they are and where they're going. You are standing on the edge of breakthrough, closer to transformation than you know, steps away from a year that will look nothing like the years before. This isn't ordinary December. It is the wilderness before. God lifts you, and the God who guided Moses, strengthened David, and stood beside Jesus is standing beside you now. If this message touched your spirit, if it helped you understand your season, I invite you to subscribe for more prophetic insight, spiritual clarity, and cinematic biblical storytelling. Your breakthrough is near. Your wilderness is temporary. Your future is already in God's hands. Walk through December with courage. Your promised land is waiting.